Morning. Good morning. Ooh, I don't like that. Thought this was they must have changed some stuff. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is having a great morning today. Let me do this. Hold on. Maybe this will make me feel better. Okay. Well, I hope everybody's having a great morning. I changed the settings on Facebook, so you know when they change settings, things will look a little different. So come on in, everybody who is here. Those who are on their way, I need to send um, some notifications out if you will bear with me for just one quick moment. Um, I don't see how to do it on this right now. So my question, I'm gonna add a question in here. Um, that let me put this in here because I did not put this here. I'm still adding stuff. Okay. And anyway, I hope everybody's having a good morning. And we're going to talk about something today that's pretty real, pretty um, for real. What's really going on today? It's been going on for quite some time, and we usually think of it in one-dimensional ways. There's so much more to domestic violence than we realize. But before I get into that, I'm posing a question to those who begin to tune in. Let me send a message out to a couple of people so they know that I'm here. And let me see. Y'all see I'm up here. I'm always multitasking if you haven't figured that out yet. But so my question today is, what is domestic violence to you? Um, you guys could begin to start answering that. But before we go on, a couple of announcements I wanted to make. So first and foremost, welcome to Corner Chat and Coffee with your girl, Miss Jeannine. I am Miss Jeannine. Thank you all for joining. Um, I first and foremost, there were several calls I got yesterday, words of encouragement, people that are really enjoying what I am doing here, the lives, the posting, just even the group overall. So to those individuals, I know I told you personally, but I wanted to say publicly, thank you for the calls, thank you for the text messages, thank you for the encouragement. I really needed it. If you probably didn't know, but I seriously need that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Second, couple more announcements. So um, on top of this video, there is my contact and my email. So topic today is about domestic violence, and it was something that was sent to me. So I said, when you send something to me, I'm gonna talk about it. Um, but I'm gonna go into that. But I also wanted to make a couple announcements. So this Saturday, this is for women. Fellas, it's not that we're ignoring you, but this is for women. If you are interested, this Saturday, there is a women's conference called Access Denied, Pain Hurts. If you are interested in attending, I need you to text me, inbox me, email me. My contact information is there. Please do not hesitate. Ladies, this is going to be in the LA area. For more details, I will need you to inbox me definitely by today, really no later than tomorrow, but I'm really purposing and emphasizing today because we are still trying to abide by social distancing and we are still um, So we will be practicing social distancing, and we will also just want to make sure we're all safe, and we want to get a head count so there's enough for each and every last person that attends. Okay, so that is for the ladies. Also for August 11th, please do not forget myself, Kat Mac, Katrina Michelle, and Nisha will be part of Conversation of Healing on Beacon Live Radio from 6 to 7 p.m. I will put that link and everything out there, so please do not forget to tune in. I'm very excited about being part of a group of a wonderful group of ladies where we can discuss different topics for about an hour. Um, so I am definitely looking forward to that. So as we go forward, I wanted to. Our topic today is domestic violence. It's a little different than what I normally do. Um, but it, again, I tell people I came here yesterday and I've come here several times before. If there's something you want to hear me talk about, if there's something you want me to touch on, email me, text me, whatever it is. My contact information is there. Share it with me. I'll go ahead and I will talk about it. Whether it's from my own personal experience or I need to go and do some research on it. So this one, I do have experience with some of this, but I also, of course, as always, do research on it, right? So our topic today, as I said, was domestic violence, but there's some things I read. It's two definitions I read, and as you can see, the question. I don't know if you guys can see it. Please, somebody tell me thumbs up, yes, no, maybe so. If you can see the question, I know what I see on my end. But the question is, what is domestic violence? I'm asking that because we all have a different idea of what domestic violence is. So usually our idea is that you're getting beat up by your significant other. So that's usually the generic version of what we think domestic violence is. Now, when I went to go look it up, um, so when you guys see me, I'm reading something at the same time, but it said violence or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. So pretty much what I just said. That's usually the standard, the more common um, definition of what domestic violence is. But then I said, no, I think there's a little more to that. So let's see. There's more to it, and there's several types of domestic violence, and I'm going to read it um, from here. Um, there's more than just being punched and being beat up. Okay, it is a violent and aggressive behavior, but there's different categories, different um, things when it comes to domestic violence. So one is control. Um, Let me read this first. Um, I want to read this one little paragraph to you. So when the general public thinks about domestic violence, they usually think in terms of physical assault, which is what we just said, that results in visible injuries to the victim. Not true. This is only one type of abuse, and it's only one. There are several categories of abusive behavior, each of which has its own devastating consequence. Lethally involved with physical abuse may place the victim at a higher risk of the long-term destruction of personhood that accompanies the other form of abuse is significant and cannot be minimized. So, in other words, there's more types of abuse than somebody getting punched. It can be physical, it can be mental, it's emotional. I know I went into my own um, domestic violence that I experienced. Um, and we're going to go into some of this a little more. So there were several types that people spoke of. And here's the deal, when I go into this, because there's some things that I read that kind of made me go, wow. But as I go into this, first of all, I do not want nobody feeling guilty. I do not want nobody feeling like, oh my God, I went through that and start tearing yourself down. Please do not add a weight, or this is not what this is for. First and foremost, this is for us to be aware. If this is something you have experienced, I'm going to encourage you, number one, to reach out and seek help. Number one. Number two, begin some sort of healing process. This does not mean that you contact these people, whoever's the one that caused it, to go beat them up. Let's keep it 100. I'm not gonna. I know y'all know I pray, but let's keep it 100. Let's go. Let's go with the real. Okay. This is not for y'all to go beat somebody up, cuss somebody out, call Pookie and Ray Ray and Jerome and all them. Let's go handle this. This is not for that. This is strictly information for you to be informed. But this is always about to get your healing, um, to get you in a place to go to your next step. Y'all know that's what I'm about. You know I'm about getting your healing, going to your next step, to achieving your next goal. What has happened has happened, but there are things from our past we need to heal from so we can get to our next step, all right? And then I'm going to explain why this topic came up. I'm gonna share the text message, um, something that we don't talk about either, but I'll go into that later. So there's several types of domestic violence. So one is control, one is physical abuse, so that's when you have the bruises. Sexual abuse, emotional abuse and intimidation, isolation, verbal abuse, coerce, threats, and blame, so that's what that is. Using male privilege, that's interesting for me, and economic abuse. So, oh, it's more. So, as you can see, I'm reading from a website, but it was so much here to write down. I wanted to bring some. So the website, um, I'm gonna put it on. I'll put it up here. The website I am reading from, is acesdb.org. Okay, I'll put it up here later. Um, I don't want to control my flow. So control was the first one that we discussed. So controlling is a way for the abuser to maintain dominance over the victim. I think some of us have been in that. Controlling behavior, the belief that they are justified to controlling the behavior and the result in abuse is the core issue in domestic violence. So let's go back. Let's put it like this. We have all been in a relationship. We have been in situations to where that person feels, I can tell you, you're going to do this, they basically going to tell you everything you're going to do, what you're not going to do, how you're going to do it, how to run your life. Those are controlling situations, okay? So here's some examples they give on the website. Checking the mileage on your car. That's crazy. Monitoring your phone calls. Um, not allowing you to choose what you wear. I got issues already in your hairstyle. You already know me. You see my face. If you know me well enough, I'm already having issues with it. Calling or coming home unexpectedly to check on them. So, we've seen those, maybe I just popped up to see how you doing. Now, let me be honest. There's nothing wrong with, surprising your significant other and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. But there's some things where it's sometimes it's something that can be out of control. Invading privacy. Even though you're in a relationship with somebody, there's a boundary there, okay? Um, Forcing or encouraging dependency by making the victim believe they are capable of surviving or performing simple tasks without that person. So you can't do anything without me. You need me. I remember hearing that. Using the children to control the victim. Parent by using the child as spies, threatening to kill, hurt, or kidnap the children. Physical. and our sexual abuse of the children. So your children are the pawn. I'm gonna control you by your kids. Been there, done that too. So physical abuse is another one. So hitting, kicking, um, all that stuff. Okay, throwing somebody against the wall. Those are sexual abuse. So sexual abuse is um, using sex as exploitative fashion or forcing sex on another person, raping. And people are like, how do you rape your I know a lot of people like to me, how do you rape somebody? It happens. There are people, if I don't want to have, I've been in relationships where I did not want to be, I didn't want to be touched that night. I just went in the movie, you know? And they like, no, and they going to force themselves on me. We've been in those types of situations. Some people, oh, but that's a, no, it's not. When you don't want it, you don't want it. I don't care if it's your spouse or not. It happens. It's true. It goes on. This was funny. Having affairs with other people and using information to taunt the victims. That's interesting. And withholding sex. They said that's sexual abuse. Okay. Emotional abuse and intimidation. So I want to go and read this one for you. Emotional abuse and intimidation is also domestic violence. I did go into my own experience with this specifically. Um, any behavior that exploits another's vulnerability, insecurity, or character, such as continuous degrading, intimidation, manipulation, brainwashing, or control of another to the detriment of the individual. So, insulting, well, you're not, yeah, you're pretty, but, something, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something um, that would be said to my own self, threatening or accusing a person. Oh, I used to get accused a lot of being the one that was cheating. Um, consistently disregarding or ignoring or neglecting the victim's requests and needs. Using action statements and gestures to attack the victim's self esteem. You'll be prettier if you were 50 pounds lighter. I used to do that a lot. You'll be prettier if you look like this. Well, I would like you more if you look like that. Forcing victims to take drugs or alcohol. Telling the victim they're mentally. I was told I was bipolar all the time. Are you bipolar? You must be crazy because you just don't seem like I got that all the time. No, and I'm not. I'm fine. Um, isolation. So another form is keeping a person away. I'm not going to read this one in detail, but I think isolation kind of speaks for itself. So an abuser will keep a person or pull them away from their family. So sometimes they move. They move where there's no um, way for them to reach family right away. There's no way for them to get in contact with other folks that they know and they trust. Because you have to remember something when you're in a domestic violence situation, you're around people you don't know, where you don't trust, and you cannot get away. Um, they have more control. They have more denomination. You completely need. We just said dependency on that person. So the more isolation, the more control I have, the better. Um, verbal abuse. We kind of just touched name calling, calling you whore, bitch, stupid, name calling, threatening, kill you, your kids, whoever else, telling people she ain't cute, he ain't cute, I don't want him. Ladies, y'all do this too. yelling, screaming, terrorizing, don't want to talk. Oh, my favorite. Now, I have to read this one because honestly, this is the first time I've heard of this and not realizing this was part of domestic violence. So I'm going to read it. And it was using male privilege. I know that's a shocker, but let's listen real quick. Um, it says, as long as we as a culture accept the principle and privilege of male dominance, men will continue to be abusive, and as long as we as a culture accept and tolerate violence against women, men will continue to be abusive. This is true. I also want to also make it clear that women are becoming more abusive too. So let's just be honest about that one. Um, let's see. So, but because it's more common, this is why it's male privilege. Okay, okay. I'm glad she just told me that. Okay, so for example, so for example, um, the use of physical force is acceptable, and effective, appropriate and effective. Societal support for dominance, control, and assault behavior, an entitlement of male authority, and a right to obligate to control, coerce, or punish her independence. Satisfaction of men's sexual, emotional, physical. So here's what they're trying to say pretty much. Um, Men are taught a lot that they have a right to dominate, that they are men, they're to rule, they're to, have that assertive behavior. Now, I said in a previous slide that men are natural hunters. Men have a natural, are really honestly, a lot of them are naturally. There's something about them that does distinguish them from women. There's a certain male behavior that is different. However, there's some men that think because they got a bat and two balls that take that too far. Um, and there are a lot of men out there for many, 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 many years, for a very long time, treat women that are like they're inferior. Now I'm going to go biblical here. When Eve was created to be a helpmate, not a doormat, she was created to be as equal to Eve, to Adam. Okay, so like they balanced each other out. However, since I want to just go ahead and say since the fall of mankind, there has been something where men feel they um, are dominant, are inferior over women. I never got it. I never understood it, but unfortunately, that comes into our relationships. Just because you're a woman, we're told that we're weak. We're told. So I could get how that could be abusive because that's something that was beat in our heads for a very, very long time, even till today. Um, because I'm a man, because I'm capable of this, I can do this. So, yes, and I know a lot of that is even culturally, um, but it's something that's very common. And I think it's even more common in domestic violence because there are men that'll tell women, um, you're less than me because you're a woman. You're less than me because I'm showing you're incapable because that's what a man's supposed to do. So I could pretty much kind of agree with that. Let's keep going. Economic abuse. So controlling how much your money. Financial abuse is a way to control the victim through manipulation of economic resources. So where you spending the money, how you spend the money, where the money comes. I'm all in your money, but you don't know nothing about mine. I have an experience with that one too. That's crazy, ain't it? So I'm reading certain things and I can get the same thing. I was like, wow, I'm having an aha moment in this very second right now. Come with me, though. Controlling the family income and either not allowing the victim access to the money or rigidly limiting their access to family funds. This may include keeping financial secrets or hidden accounts, mm. putting the victim on allowance or allowing the victim to say the victim no saying how money is spent or making them turn their paycheck over to the perpetrator. They have control over everything. You don't know nothing. You may get $50 if you are lucky. That's if you're lucky. Here's another one. Stalking. I don't think I need to go into any explanations about that one. You got somebody hiding in your bushes, watches every single movie you made, taking pictures. We seen these movies. They got like walls and altars to people. Stalking. I got a stalker. Okay, another one. Common stalking behaviors. So let's give the example. Mail cards or cryptic messages, breaking windows, taking partner's mail. Ooh, that's crazy. Hang up calls on the telephone. Surveillance. I just told y'all we done seen these movies and people got altars and pictures and it's just a whole collage of a person doing everything. Um, Filing for custody of child regardless of their needs. I might need to look into that a little bit more for my own self. Amen. Violent or restraining orders, different things. So these are different examples of what they gave of what types of domestic violence. Another one I found was child mistreatment or child abuse. Um, some that aren't just necessarily in the home, but some other ones I found was just violence. And so they were saying bullying, gang violence, peer violence, domestic violence in schools, suicide. Now, they said, how is that domestic violence? But they were referring to the person that constantly is doing either committing suicide and they recover or they're threatening. I don't know if I can see that one. To me, I think that may be something else, but okay. Um, and we've already talked about sexual assault and violence between partners. So, why was this brought up? Why am I talking about this particular thing? Like I said earlier, at the beginning, I mean, well, no, there was a video and there was an article, and it's something we don't talk about. But number one, we keep secrets all the time. I'm going to always tell people, please stop keeping secrets. Please stop being. I understand fear. I understand being scared, but we have to open our mouth. We have to say something. If we do not speak, if we don't scream, we don't say, "Help me." There's there's always somebody there to help. I don't care what you got to do. And we as neighbors, we as people need to be more vigilant and paying attention to what's going on around us. You may have somebody next door to you getting their head knocked in or going through some type of situation and they are in desperate need of help. But then that's a whole nother story. But a story was brought to me. I'm going to give you the two examples. Was about um, two people in ministry. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. And both of them, um, one happened a couple of years. We're in 2020, so this is 2018. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but it was a big story. I remember hearing about it, um, where a pastor killed his wife, and I believe this was in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Tanisha Harris. And then there was another one in, I think it was Kentucky, or not Kentucky, Connecticut. Pastor killed his wife. Well, he wasn't a pastor. He was a um, what did it say? We'll go back. His wife was a pastor, but he, on the other hand, he worked for the. I think he worked for the city. Yeah, he worked for the city. He was a new. Yeah, he was a police officer. Killed his wife, then killed himself. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when people saw these couples, people said, "Ooh, they look so happy. Ooh, they look so lovely. Ooh, y'all love each other, don't you?" I'm telling you this because this is what I used to hear. I used to have people look at me and my ex, y'all so cute together. Y'all look so happy. Y'all so this, y'all so that. You would never know what we were going through. You would not know what I was experiencing. What looks good on the surface is not always good behind closed doors. And that's for any and everybody. People be going through some stuff and we don't even know. But we don't talk about here domestic violence. Tanisha Harris, they called the house that Monday morning for domestic violence calls. Now, there were more people saying we saw the couple together. It was nothing wrong. We thought they were happy, but the husband killed him. Now, the video I watched, the man was saying what happened to discernment, what happened to all the prophets and things like that. Okay, I'm going to address that real quick, real fast. First and foremost, it says test the spirit by spirit, meaning there is a way to know if that person is truly operating by the Spirit of God or they're operating by the flesh. There is a way to learn and know. You could tell a lot by a person's conversation and their actions. When the two do not align up and they do not line up with the, there's an issue. That's when you kind of want to go. Hmm. But then I'm a person, there may not be some things that may not line up. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still in the process of learning. So I still have my own thoughts. But I'm still, you know what, I'm going to always be in the process of learning. That's just what that is. But there should have been a change when, as you go into the Word of God, as you begin to study this Word, there should be changes that happen in your life. You may not, you know, um, go out and party as much. You may not drink like you used to. Some people, you may not watch certain things on TV anymore because your spirit's out. Those are just a few examples, different things people don't do anymore. And then people go, oh, you changed, you're different. No, it's just because God's been working and dealing with me in certain areas. So there's some things I can't do anymore. And that's normal in that sense. But what I'm trying to tell you is that God starts with that person first. So I'm also aware and have experienced firsthand God sends warning before destruction. Example. Before my ex husband asked me to marry him, I had a dream. No, let me back up. I remember being over at his apartment and a girl came knocking on the door. She had an attitude, whatever it was, he slammed the door on. I was kind of like, what's that? Some crazy do do do. Okay. I let it go. We literally had just started dating. It's very possible, you know, people still come around, so I just talked it up to nothing, right? Same person came around, I don't think 2, 3 weeks later, not even 2 weeks later, a few days later, and tried to start some stuff with him. And she was like, "Oh, he promised me this, he was going to do that. He said he," and I was like, "What's that about?" So he told me, "She's somebody I used to talk to and date and deal with. You know, I don't do it, and I really want to be with you, so on and so forth." I talked it up, I left it alone. That was the first one. I ignored it. Another warning I got from my own self was, I remember being in, um, I was, I just gave birth to Amari. I came home from the hospital, and a young lady was walking up the stairs calling his name. Now, as she was walking up the stairs and calling his name, it was not calling his name in the way of, "Hey, what's up?" It was like a, almost like say like that cat call, like "Yeah, baby, here I come" type of call. And so when she saw me sitting there, the demeanor changed. What's going on here? Warning number two. Another warning. God finally sent me a dream. In that dream, I was in his apartment. Behind me, I had turned around and there was another woman in the dream and him. Now in that dream, I whipped both their tails in my dream. Yeah. And I woke up the next day. I told him this, and he proposed to me. He said, "I'll never cheat on you," but that was God's warning. He's doing stuff behind your back. He's not faithful. He's not true. God warned me then. Now, why am I telling you this? Because, like I said, God says warning before destruction. I am pretty certain God was warning both of these women. The thing is, do we heed to those warnings? God could send it to a dream. He'll send it in a vision. Anybody who truly knows, connected, whatever it is, there's always some sort of warning. There are signs. I'm a big person. I truly believe signs happen. So here's another one. Even if it's not a dream or vision, God will send a real man or woman of God. And you're like, "Jeannine, what do you mean a real man or woman of God?" Listen, somebody who's living right, living holy, and not doing some things they ain't supposed to be doing that's contrary to the word of God. God will send that person to a person and say, "Listen, do not do that. Do not do this." If I can use a jackass, he can use anything he wants. Okay? He will send warning before you go and don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Do we pay attention? No, we don't. Because we're too busy focused on this. So these two couples that were in ministry, I heard the man on the video, "Well, what happened to all your apostles, your prophets?" Okay, hold up. First, God's gonna deal with that individual. I am. I would not be surprised. It's just not because once you release the word, because I'm gonna tell you now, there have been men and women of God who have spoken things into my life. They don't even remember. Once God works and uses the vessel, half the time the man or woman of God may not remember what they said unless you come back and God brings it back to their memories. And that's somebody who's truly operating in the will and the spirit of God. You ain't gonna remember everything. You just don't. You're not gonna look at the surface. I could look at the surface of something and I'll be like, There have been people that I've seen just get married, and I went, "Okay, I'm gonna smile with you." I go, and I'm like, "Lord, just let that work out. I really hope that works," and I do. I don't encourage for people to get divorced or anything like that. But my point is this: some of us can be unviolent in bad situations. The signs are always there. Are we paying attention to those signs? I just gave you a bunch of them. Patrolling. If you have a spouse that's patrolling, if you're dating someone who's patrolling, if you're dating somebody who's trying to change you from your norm, there's a difference between compromising and taking over. There are certain things Jeannine likes to do. But if somebody comes along and says, Jeannine, you know what, here's a suggestion of how to do this in a better way, I could take that and advise me, and I have a choice of whether or not I want to do it. Now, somebody coming to force me, or this is, it, you in Vegas, hold up, no, I'm going to make you, you're going to do this, you're going to, when somebody is trying to take over your life, like that's a violent situation. And those are times you need a friend. And let me be very clear, domestic violence is not just men to women, it's women to men too, because it's happening, especially now, and it's more and more common. I hate to say that to y'all. No, I don't. I don't like saying that. And a lot of like, I ain't no punk. I'm a man. I ain't no punk. I ain't. Y'all gonna shut up. Listen, hush that. Shut it down. Some of y'all men done been in a situation where you done dealt with a woman and you keep it 100. But if you're in a volatile situation, you're in a situation where you know some of us are in marriages that are truly a violent situation. It is not healthy, and you know it's not healthy. There's something inside of you that's screaming, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. But you don't get out. Why? Because either you've become so dependent on that person, you're isolated, you have nowhere to go, or you don't have family to reach out to. There are places. I've had Jerron say it, and I've said it. Reach out. I don't go tell your business. I'm not gonna run and say da da this, da da that. But what I will say is people that you gotta reach out to. And then let me be very clear. Don't say something that is not true. Be very, very, very truthful about what's going on with you. People will make a claim about something and it's not true. That's too much going on. If it's something that's not, you like, wait a minute. I told you my ex husband used to say, I think you're bipolar. How am I bipolar? Do you know what bipolar is? Well, you keep going through this and you're doing that, you kill this. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure something out because my spirit, see, I'm a person, I think, something about our spirit. There's something within, whether it's just, I honestly think it's our spirit that it starts, some don't feel right. It's, you feel uncomfortable. Some feels like it's weighing you down, and sometimes we don't even realize it, but our actions show. You wake up in the morning and you may feel like, or you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, or certain subjects come up. I'll give you an example for myself. So I want to say a certain, like, I used to have to tell him about money. But then when I got back, a lot of times the money was him. So, like, if the bank account was overdraft, I used to like, oh my God, I don't want to tell him because he's going to get real mad and I don't want to have to deal with this and I don't want him to say that. But the truth of the matter was, if I went to go, okay, wait a minute, I discussed this with you, you did this over here. How that happen? You supposed to put this in. Well, well, it's all your fault. How? But I'm bipolar. Hey, I'm a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. When you are in, and see, let me go there. Some of us are in something worse than whatever I was in. Get help. Get out. Get out now. What appears to be good. I just told you it was a pastor that killed his wife, an officer of the law, somebody who upholds the law, probably been on 1,000 different domestic calls in his own. Went home, killed his wife and him. Now, y'all know I could go there about that and be a whole nother spiritual talk. Yeah, it's a whole nother level. But what looks good isn't always good. That's why I talked about dating and relationships a couple videos ago. This is why I say you need to get to know who you with. You need to have a conversation. We need to listen and go, mm-hmm. Analyze that thing. Did they just say, mm, did, oh, mm. I'm a person, I've, at 40 years of age now, I have begun to listen. I can have a conversation with a man and I go, oh, okay. Then you go back. You go ask some questions. Oh, hmm. And it's not being judgmental, but you kind of go, we have to be aware. We date, we talk to people, we hook up. We hook up so quick with some people. Forgive me for, don't forgive me. I'm gonna just say it like it is. We hook up with people as quick as we get a pair of drawers. You know what I'm saying? We switch in and out so fast. Ooh, that didn't work. And all of a sudden, you with cray cray who done beat up your head and who's doing all these things. But because now we're in a position where I have no choice, I gotta be with you. Or we get so infatuated and call infatuation love. Now we're in a domestic violence relationship, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, the honeymoon stage always looks good. Somebody who has a domestic violence history is not going to say, "Hey, I have a domestic violence history. I'm not. I'm going to be really kind to you." And then a year or two down the line, or 6 months down the line, I'm going to go ahead and make your life a living hell. Want to be part of it? They're not going to advertise it like it. They're going to, yeah, baby, show you, yeah, honey. It's a honeymoon stage. Let's go there with it. Y'all done seen them movies? This is the new one now. Fatal Affair. That was kind of special. The other one, Michael Ealy and Sanaya Lathan. Um, oh God, it's so many that we can go with. But basically, y'all don't see the movie. Guy or the woman comes along and ooh, it looks so good. It look y'all look. Have y'all watched Lifetime? It's enough for them to satisfy you. Talk about this particular kind of situation. Ooh, and then oh y'all look so ooh, it's wonderful. What's that other one? What's that one? Gritball, Medea movie. Y'all remember that one? Was it Family Reunion? I think it was. I think it was Family Reunion. And everybody thought her and the husband, the spouse, was, hey, y'all look good. Y'all great. Oh, girl, you got this beautiful house. And you got, and everything that's beautiful and glamorous is my living hell on earth. I'm in a cage. Everything that looks pretty on the outside might be a nightmare truly going on the inside, but we don't know. We don't ask, we ain't paying attention, or we so busy. Here's the thing, we've gotten to a point where we are people that are so busy looking at the surface and we're not going, hmm, hmm, oh, okay. We so busy. Girl, you got them Jimmy Choo shoes. Girl, your man balling. Girl, you got a BM. Boy, You know, she doing this and she doing, oh, and you got, and I got, oh, we living so good and got hell going. Don't realize somebody getting their butt beat. That girl's going through emotional torture. That man's going through emotional torture. That man or woman is being raped and assaulted in their own house. Their children are going through, are being beat up inside. We don't know the violent situation, the brewing that's going on right inside that house. But it looks good. They seem like the perfect, beautiful family. Yeah, okay. I'll go even deeper. I loved my father very, very much. But nobody knew my father. A lot of people didn't realize how much of an alcoholic my dad was. When you're in a house of there's as an alcoholic situation, I dealt with that. We don't realize what looks pretty may not always been pretty. And I'm not saying my dad put hands. He didn't. My dad would have went to see Jesus sooner if he ever put hands on my mama. I'm just gonna keep it 100. That's just being real honest with you. Mama would have sent him first. It wouldn't have been for natural causes. I'm just saying. I can say that now. My mama's gone with the Lord. Amen. But um, but it's just saying that's how that was. We find ourselves in situations and involved with people who who have a lot of issues of their own, and they're bringing that. We don't take time to know people, but we're in a domestic violence situation, and like I said, that's an emotional, it's sexual. We just named 12 of them. I mean, seven of them, like right offhand. I mean, control, physical, sexual, emotional, isolation, verbal. Come on. We're in this type of domestic violence situation. And a lot of it, we don't even realize it, but it's in a situation and it becomes all of it really is all controlling in the most part. And it's interesting how they put controlling, but all of it is a different form of control of us, of our minds, of our body, of our and controlling a person. And we don't do any say anything about it. Now let me go there with the church. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to y'all about the church real quick because that's just where I'm at. There's a lot of stuff we don't talk about in the church. Why? Because we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to say nothing. Or we're aware of it. We don't say nothing. Or or we just too busy looking at what's pretty. That's just in general. We don't pay attention. It gets swept and nobody says anything. At some point, folks, sweeping under the rug. That's why we're in so much what we're in now. But we sweep stuff under the rug and it doesn't come out. So here's what I'm going to tell y'all today. If you are in a situation, and Jerron came on here one day and said it, I'm going to keep on saying it. If you find yourself in a situation and you know I got to get out of this, and due to COVID, all kinds of other stuff, it's hard to reach out. My contact is not there for a reason. It's not there for advertisement. It's there for a reason. Reach out. Contact somebody. Contact me. Contact Jerron. We both put our information out there. Reach out to us. I think even Tori just said recently, reach her. However, you got to do it. Reach out to somebody. I do not want to see men and women senselessly die because they didn't have somebody to reach out to. They were suffering in silence. Tanisha Harris suffered in silence. The woman who was killed by her police officer husband and she was in ministry suffered in silence. People are being abused in a violent situation. And because they don't say nothing, they're scared to say something, whatever the case may be, or they keep brushing over and hoping, doing like I did for the longest. Oh, it's going to change. It's going to get better. It's going to, the situation got worse. I always will tell you, it's time to go. It's time. It's that time. Do not suffer in a situation you don't need to be in, because the ultimate price half the time is your life or their life. And because nobody here's what I find so sad. There are a lot of women who are in prison because they were in a domestic violence situation, but because there was no true proof, there was no record, there was no nothing, they're sitting in jail. So there goes their life. But as far as they're concerned, they have some freedom because they no longer have to deal with that. And then in some cases, they went from one hell to another. So here's my encouragement to you. I keep telling you guys, you are lovely. You are loved. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are worthy. You are capable of doing everything, anything you do. But I will always say, do not suffer in silence. If you're in, if you know, if their kids end up watching this, listen, if you know, and I mean, if you do know you're in a bad, please, please speak up. Say something. I do not want nobody ever to go through something that's totally unnecessary. That could be changed. And then let me tell you something. Those who are single, you're dating, maybe want to get to know somebody, whatever case, get to know them. Listen to what a person says. Really listen to them and start asking about. And I know we may not always, let's start inquiring about some things. Y'all know what I mean? Listen, because that person is going to tell you, right? You'll learn that crazy. I need to run for the hills, baby. I got to go. Can't do this. Mm-mm. And then I know not everybody does, but I'm gonna tell you this: if you do pray, you better get to praying, because God will show you who that person is better than anybody personally. And it's not a person I don't meet that I don't sit there and go, okay, Lord, who they? Tell me about this. Do I need to run from them here? I'll keep it 100. Everybody don't deserve to be in my space like that. Nobody deserves to be. Mm-mm. That's idle time. That's way I'm at. My time is precious. It's fragile. So having idle time and wasted time is no longer a luxury for me. It isn't. So be careful with who you give your time to, but who you let into your circle, who you let into your life. Not everybody deserves that access to. And I don't care if you do go to church. All church folks ain't right folks, and some church folks ain't even saved. Some of them talking about hallelujah, praise the Lord, thank you, Jesus, ain't even reading that word, ain't nothing changing, ain't been delivered. That's a whole nother video and a whole nother conversation. Y'all ain't ready for it yet. I'll get to that another day. But I will say to you, please, 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 wait. Get out of it. Call for help. My number is there. I'm not going to tell you my number is not there for no reason. Call me, text me, whatever you got to do. Trust and believe. And I'm going to tell you something. When I tell you we pray, we pray. They'll be surprised about some things that can change. Okay? But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you today. I will tell you once again, you are loved. I love you. You are special. You are phenomenal. You guys can do anything you set your mind to. Let your gift shine. You have purpose, you have will, you have drive. But at the end of all of this is what I'm going to tell you. Stop letting things stifle you from achieving your purpose. Again, stop letting things stifle. Don't let nothing stop you. Some of us, like I said at the very beginning, some of us already dealt with something in a domestic violence situation, didn't even know it. It's time for you to heal. This is not a conversation by accident. It's time to let go and heal and recover. This is not the time to call and cuss people out. This is the time to acknowledge, yes, I went through this. Yes, I need to heal from this. Because I'm going to be honest with you. If you have already been in this situation and there's something that's still hindering from you from going into that next relationship, that's hindering you from going into falling in love, whatever the case, because a lot of us want to be married, a lot of us want to be involved with somebody, but it's something from back here that's hindering us from going into that. If it is, it's time to let it go. I'm not telling you this because it's just good to sound. I am telling you from my own. I can tell you now, I know I am still healing and recovering from quite a bit. I told somebody not too long ago, I'm not ready, but I am in the process of being prepared because there's some things I still recognize I need to be healed from. There's some things I still need to be let go. Some things that there have been wounds that have been opening, but I know they're being healed, they're being closed, and they're being covered, and I can move on. And I'm getting stronger for it. So that way, when I do meet that one person, that guy, that, ooh, yeah, that's it. And I'll know and he'll know. When I do, I'll be ready. I won't be halfway about it. I won't be, I, yeah, we can go. Because when you come together, you're supposed to grow and be better, make each other better. Not, we got to make each other better. That's it. That's all. Again, love you. Be blessed. Do not forget anything you want to hear, you want me to talk about, how much more. And if there's somewhere you want me to touch in on this topic, go ahead, shoot me a message. I'll go for it. I'm going to share a couple of videos though that was sent to me regarding this topic, and I do want to hear your feedback. All right, but answer the question: what is domestic violence? Other than that, be blessed. Be restful out. Take care. Have a good afternoon. See you tomorrow morning at 9.